Good day, everybody, from an undisclosed quarantined location in Tracy, Missouri. There's only 4 people in this studio, just so that the president knows. Only 4 people here.
And a dog.
And we have...
Joni's here.
Joni's
in the office today.
There is not one bit of hand sanitizer in this entire place.
You don't need hand sanitizer.
No, there's enough mold in the walls to kill anything that comes
That's
in.
right. It's got to compete.
Actually, you talk about hand sanitizer. I was at a high school rodeo this weekend, and the mom said, "Hey, somebody got some hand sanitizer?" I thought, "Are you kidding me?
You're at a freaking
We're literally
rodeo.
standing in here. It's the dust is accumulating on my face.
Everybody's walking,
here.
touching rails, touching the panels.
Yeah.
No need for hand sanitizer.
It is the coronavirus version of the Two Big Guys and Grover podcast. Well, the first week of the coronavirus.
Do you think if he caught it?
shutdown.
Do you think if Cris caught it, he would lose weight? Do you
I
think it
don't
would
think
like?
that's. I don't think that's
shrivel?
something that you can say.
He
I
could
can't
say
say
that.
I mean, that's one big guy to another big guy.
That's
making
why.
fun
That's
of
why I
weight.
can say it.
Well,
I'm just asking. I want him to be the guinea pig.
Is this the first fight that we're gonna have?
I was going to say,
I'm not saying that. I was asking on Chris's behalf. Chris's wife said to me the other day, "Is there anything you can do to help Cris lose some weight?" I said, "Yes, he can get the coronavirus."
You can quit eating Laffy Taffy.
that's
actually,
a no. That is a no.
What about
No.
Smarty or no? What's those sweet
Sweet
tarts?
Tarts.
That's it.
Hey,
Sweet
man.
tarts.
There is only one person in the entire world that likes banana Laffy Taffy. It is
Yoo-hoo,
that
over here.
guy right
Over here.
there.
That's not true because if you walk next door, you will see that bin is half gone all the time. And I know,
Yoo-hoo, over here.
and I know it's not just him because I see the wrappers in here. But banana Laffy Taffy.
is the
it's kinda-
worst.
I'm
ever.
down.
If I'm gonna eat anything banana, it's gonna be like the Runts. I like banana Runts.
If I'm gonna eat anything banana, it's gonna be a banana.
Well,
Because
That's
you
why you look
can't-
like that.
Because
not
listen,
candy.
you
I mean, come
can't
on.
make anything taste like a banana.
we could go over to what is it? The Brazilian steakhouse with the.
Oh yeah, where they serve the cinnamon bananas when you're done.
Ooh, Remember that?
Like to clear your palate. Do you remember that?
You remember that?
No.
The nice soft. They bring
You've
them
eaten
in-
Brazilian steakhouse before.
Yeah, but I'm just not. I mean, like seriously, if I'm gonna have a banana, I'm having banana pudding, or I'm having a
I'm okay with
straight
that
up
too.
banana.
I'm
We're
okay
okay
with
with
that
banana pudding too. I mean, look at
But
us.
like, I don't.
But my point is, you don't remember going like when you eat Brazilian steakhouse and they bring out those bananas and you're supposed to eat them between like the meats to clear your palate.
Yeah, I don't eat those. I just keep mine on green.
Just keep it on
Yeah,
green.
I don't need anything else. A little bit of salad and a whole bunch of meat. Then I'm
Really?
good. Yeah.
Because I find myself now that we're going down this rabbit hole, I'm going to talk about it for a second. Brazilian steakhouses. Here's what I love about them. It's all the meat you can eat.
Right.
But they need to make the salad bar sucky. Because the salad bar is really good.
Yeah, because they don't want you to eat as much meat.
That's true. But what I'm saying, yeah,
And if you go there with your buddies and you have 3 pitchers of sangria,
They're
then-
all about it,
dude.
Yeah.
And that sangria is
Oh,
good.
it's the best sangria ever.
But you have to imagine. I mean, you have to see them like when we walk through the door. They're probably like, put some more meat on.
Put some
Fire
more-
up the grill, Bobby.
Get the salad going.
Yeah, let's hope these boys eat salad. So they're probably in the back like, please eat salad, please eat salad, please eat salad.
Yeah.
But it's really good though. I mean,
Hey,
like,
I'll even
all the
take-
stuff that's on the salad bar.
I'll take it a step farther. I don't really want the salad, and I really don't want like the sirloin. Just bring me the fillet.
Yeah, but I will
Bring
say this
me
because
the fillet.
you like the Texas de Brazil, the actual
Mhm.
restaurant
I
Texas
do.
de Brazil.
Yep.
I like Fogo de Chao.
The best Brazilian steakhouse, though, that I think we've ever ate in was
Right.
in
Cambridge,
Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah,
It was
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport,
in a
Connecticut.
gas station. Dude, I'm
That's
serious.
a true story.
It's like one of
actually.
those places that you walk in, you go, they got really good tacos here. Kind of like Kansas City Joe's KC.
Mhm.
They must have really good barbecue. It's in a gas station. They must have
That's
really
a true
good
story.
tacos.
So-
Holy cow, the best Brazilian steakhouse I've ever ate at in a gas station in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
So I'll tell the story
Do you
because we
remember
got
the
plenty
name?
of time.
Do
I'll
you
tell
remember
the
the
story.
name?
I have no idea.
You know what? I might be able to look up on a map just because I
You can find it.
kind of remember
Yeah.
where we went
Yep.
around. But Gizmo McCracken, myself, you, Mark Evans,
Yep.
and there was somebody else with us. There was a 5th person. So we're in Bridgeport. We're at the hotel, and a nor'easter is blowing in. We have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And so we started looking at restaurants, and it says, "Oh, Brazilian." We're like, "Great,
Great
we're hungry."
reviews, you
Yeah,
know.
we're hungry. We pull up. I kid you not. There's
So
like
he's
a gravel
hey, where are we
lot.
going to dinner tonight? Where are we going to dinner tonight?
Yeah.
And you've already pulled in and parked, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like we're there and we're like, this is a gas station. Are you sure? And we look at each other and we all walk in.
Yeah.
And the food was unbelievable.
But straight up like laundromat here.
Yeah, no, it
gas
was.
station
It really
here.
was. It was, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even like a true strip mall. It was like gas station, and then another building was a laundromat, and they had 2 gas pumps out front.
Mhm.
And it was, when I say good, and it was amazing.
Oh,
And actually, that's the first time I'd ever eaten Brazilian by the pound.
Mhm.
It wasn't like all you could eat, like Texas, like those.
Is that where you just kind of go,
Well, you
Give
order your
signals?
food and they bring it out,
yeah?
and then they brought it out again if you wanted to pay for more.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you paid for so much.
You paid for so much, and then once you got to that point, then they
Yeah.
brought out more.
Yeah.
But you told them what you wanted to eat versus like Fogo and those places where it's like they bring by the swords and they're slicing the meat off.
Mhm.
That was not this place at all.
And they had a dessert in a I want to say like flan, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
It wasn't that. It was.
I don't even know what it
but
was.
it was in a little plastic cup.
Yeah.
On the way out.
They brought in so many rolls,
Craziest-
like
yeah.
the cheesy rolls you get that are so good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they brought those out into our table, and then we ordered our meat. And it was by the pound. Like you got so much of everything, and that's what you had to eat. But the food was. It really was. That event in itself was something that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How long ago has that been?
Oh,
It's been a while.
2011, 12.
But if you wanted a blizzard to hit, go to Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Oh, I
'cause
bet.
it hit every
We had
time.
to leave the
Been there.
stock in the
Yeah, no interest.
indoor of the arena.
Yeah.
So normally stock has to leave. It never left.
Couldn't get them out.
We couldn't. They physically could not drive the trucks down the road.
Nope.
And it's like you get to those events indoors and you try not to have all the manure smell. It was completely.
Yeah.
It smelled like a boat ride. Like there was no people walking. And you're in the part of the world where they maybe own a cowboy hat one day a year. This was it.
Mhm.
And it was 5 degrees outside. So they didn't even have cowboy hats or stockings and clothes. And they come in and it was a great event, actually.
Yeah. And when
2
you
years
parked
in a
your-
row we were there, and that was a stellar event.
you parked your rental car and you put your windshield wipers out so that they
So it
didn't,
didn't freeze?
stick to the windshield.
Been there.
That's
Done that.
actually the same place we went to the mall. We
Mhm.
went to a mall.
Wow.
No,
You
like
went to a mall?
no, but here's the thing. I mean, no, hold on a second.
Wow.
Let me start over. We don't normally get a break in the day to leave, and because of the snow, we got to leave, and we went to the mall. And the people watching up there was not like anything you would see at a mall in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like Spencer's had a line out the door, and the people that were going. I mean, I saw more.
Where was this again?
We were in
Connecticut.
Bridgeport, but I don't remember. We were somewhere on
Okay.
the New York side when we ended up in the mall.
And that was one of the greatest years of traveling with Cody that I'd ever had. Because like 2 weeks later, we show up at an airport, a little bitty airport. I don't remember where it was. Go out to the rental car.
White Plains, New York.
They
Actually.
White Plains, New York. They had given us a
Toyota Yaris.
Toyota Yaris.
Have you ever seen one?
If you've never seen a Toyota Yaris, Cody walks back into the rental car desk and says,
no.
"Does it come with suspenders? Because I'm going to have to carry it." But first off, we got in and took a picture. There's nowhere for me to sit. Cody is in the middle of this car.
That's a true story, actually.
And as skinny as I am, there is nowhere for me to go.
Like when I sat down in the driver's seat, it felt like like when you have a kid sit on your leg and they got like a bony butt. That's what it felt like in this seat. Like it was so bony, I couldn't move one way or another.
It
And
looked
Scott's
like
like,
he was.
I got to take a picture, and I'm like, no, I wanted to flip off the camera because he's
It
standing
looked
there.
like he was smashed inside of a marshmallow.
But you know what? We drove it
We did drive
because
it.
they had not one
Hey,
other car
no.
available for us.
If the Yaris fits, wear
If
it.
the Yaris fits, wear it.
Yaris fits,
Well,
wear it.
that was a true story, and that was a good year of traveling. But
So as weird as
we've
a
started.
Brazilian gas station restaurant was, and driving a Yaris with Cody Mcgee was not as weird, honestly, as walking into a Coliseum this week in Georgia and having the top 35 ranked bull riders in the world there and playing to 10,000 empty seats.
Was it like a good practice
But
pin?
you know what? Here's the thing.
It was the rankest practice pin I'd ever seen in my life.
Here's the thing, and I've said this all weekend, and I'm going to say it now because I had some kids come up to me in a high school rodeo. And we can talk about that later. But they said, "Hey, I see Scott's down there." Yep, he's down there. What's it like? I said, "I don't know. I'm here." They said, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, they were asking me what I thought it felt like. From the outside looking in, it was truly a testament to our sport, PBR in general, to our sport, because the show has always been about more than just bucking. It's always been you want to talk about the crowds and all those things. It truly comes back to just being about bucking bulls, and that's what and I've always been a fan of the circus. I've always been a fan of entertainment.
The show must go
and
on
animals.
type of thing, yeah.
And this weekend was a true testament of the show must go on. And for the people at home, like myself, being in a rodeo, I've got my phone plugged into my TV on my trailer, and I'm inside, and we're all, it's raining outside, and we're inside watching Ride Pass. Cris was at home watching Ride Pass. Lots of people we talked to were watching. It was a true testament to our sport, saying, we love our sport, and that's what it was.
I was texting back and forth with a couple of the riders and just saying, just because I was curious, it's like normally, obviously I wasn't bugging them right beforehand, but, it's like, Dalen had a pretty good, didn't win the dang thing, but had a pretty good weekend.
So you're the reason he bucked off the other night?
Nope, right afterwards. I said, hey, congratulations on still a great weekend. And as always, boom, he's right back. And I said, what did it feel like? And he said, it was different. It was different. And I said, well, yeah, from watching it looks really different. But his next text really kind of was kind of cool because he said, but when you get down in the chute and you're tying up, it's no different.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah. And just so everybody that knows that it was not mandatory that any of us win. It was not mandatory to any of the bull riders that they win. It was not mandatory to any of the stock contractors that they win. That was never going to be held against us. It was a volunteer basis only that we went to Atlanta. It was you guys are independent contractors. You guys are bull riders that only get paid if you win.
But see, that's what the outside world, I think, had an opportunity to learn this.
They did, and they
did know about that.
They absolutely got to see that element and realize that, to hear the sounds that were different, to, just guys hitting the ground and hearing that. And the interviews we were able to get on Ride Pass and the little behind-the-scenes looks that CBS was able to do that they were not normally used to doing. But just so that you know, we had to go through screening when we walked through the door. We had to fill out a questionnaire. We had a big meeting with Tandy Freeman, had a big meeting with Sean Gleason at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to talk about why we were there, why he did this, why it was allowed, and all of these things. And we were down to 100 people. So that meant that the crew that was there in the morning, that crew went back to the hotel, and they were not inside that building until the event was over and we traded spots.
Which is pretty amazing because those guys that were at the hotel, and I know a good number of those guys, they were anxiously awaiting to get back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because never in their career
had they not
been there.
No.
They did it on all the hard work, and then they weren't there.
I know.
And the Bulls even felt the difference in that day. Like the way they left, like where my kind of my headquarters is for Ride Pass is over in the corner by the back pins. And one of the guys looking out goes, "This is the easiest loadout I've ever had." I mean, none of those bulls were stirred up.
Yeah, but that goes to prove the point that they feel the energy that we feel.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And again, that's that's thing that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
I've
said that always about, when you see the horses line up in the alley at the NFR, you see the horses' ears perk up. You watch their own noses draw down.
They're bouncing a little bit.
Absolutely.
Steps, yeah.
You get to see and feel that. You can see the energy coming off of those guys. Because you figure, using the NFR as the example, they're loaded in the alley a long time before.
Yep.
Because by the time they get loaded in the alley, those guys get riggins on.
It's all about numbers. So they've got tons.
Well, it's all about TV at that point. They've got to hit
boom,
certain.
boom, boom,
yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
But you see those horses come through. That old song, I swear to you, there's horses that when they hear Cowboy Town, or, when it comes out, or what's the Cowgirls, when they, for the Queen, when she makes her victory lap and she comes out. I swear to you, start watching some of those bucking horses
Yep.
perk their old ears and drop their nose.
From the fans' point of view, which was awesome getting to watch it, I thought your interview with Gleason,
Mhm.
oh man, I thought that was so awesome. And he talked about why and
Yeah.
how and
Yeah.
the commitment
Well,
to
I
it.
mean, you see the post like that he posted of he and his wife. It was her birthday, and we all know as independent contractors, as rodeo people, being on the road on your significant other's birthday or Christmas and those things. I mean, we miss a lot of holidays.
Yep.
And so for her to give that up,
Been there,
because,
done that.
right, as a coach in football,
Right.
A coach in anything collegiately, and we can get to that later, but giving those things up, and then that for that significant other to say, you know what, I know you need to be
This
here.
is important.
This said a lot about her.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing. I thought it was cool to see that because she posted the pictures of Sean cheering on top of
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't, not that Roger Goodell is the end all be all, but at the NFL, but you see him standing up in a press box.
You don't see him.
You
In the
don't
grid,
see him give the
like-
emotion that Sean gave
Exactly.
this weekend.
Yeah. Well, and Sean mentioned, I think he mentioned him in the interview I did, and he mentioned in the writer meeting earlier that it was one of the toughest decisions and one of the toughest things he's ever had to do because he knew that he could possibly be putting us all at risk, but and he said it only, only second to having to go to that press conference in Denver and talk about Mason Lowe.
Right.
Yeah,
And but I applaud him. I couldn't be more proud to be a part of the PBR because he was worried about the family. He was worried about the PBR family. He was worried about us guys feeding our families, taking care of our stock, doing things like that. And
on the flip side of all of that, the experience was different. Watching it, it was different, and I think maybe it was just enough to change it up.
I think it's going to bring some new fans to the table.
I agree.
And and at the end of the day, we were the only live sport on television in a prime time spot for 2 days. We were live on CBS on Sunday afternoon, Sunday at noon. Then we were tape delayed for CBS Sports Network on Sunday night. Shoot, ESPN Fox Sports, they're playing the basketball tournaments from 2017.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing to show.
I know.
And the deal, and what ticks me off, just drives me nuts. Did we make Sports Center? No.
Yeah, but
the rest of the world has got to realize, though,
mainstream
that
media. Though.
I know,
we
but
fight it every day.
Hey,
Dang it,
UFC's only
we're
been on there for
such
about
a
3
great
years.
Yeah,
sport.
I mean,
They've
It
just
is
a great
right.
sport.
You're right. They are, but
But you know what? Here's the thing: mainstream media doesn't necessarily understand what we do to this level.
no, they don't.
They were given
They
a
don't.
small glimpse.
Yep.
The conversation with Sean talked about being a 1099 employee, and that's for nobody else than Uncle Sam.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't matter to nobody else cares.
No.
We've got guys that pay to play. We talk about that all the time.
Mhm.
They don't really care because in the end, it's entertainment to them.
Yep.
A couple years ago, Chris and I, back on the 100X side, had an employee, and he was really big into soccer.
Mhm.
I, never have ever watched the World Cup. To be honest, I couldn't even have told you when the time of year it was played or when it was played. I don't know if you're the same. He's probably different because he was a coach, but
Right.
But for this particular individual, he knew exactly, and it brought a whole new world to me to
Sure.
understand the soccer side.
All of a sudden, we started watching it.
Yeah, and
checking
that's what
it
I was
in the
getting at.
office.
Yeah,
And,
Kinda
and
become a-
halfway understand it.
halfway,
Right, yeah.
exactly.
Because I don't understand.
And I
so.
think that was during that series.
Yeah.
I think this is the same thing for
I
Borderline.
wonder what the data is on people who watched it. Have you
I
heard
know that
anything
somebody
about that?
posted that, and I know this is again internet,
Yeah, I
but they
have
said CBS Sports Network doesn't follow ratings like CBS Sports does. That because they're a continuous sports channel,
Mhm.
that they don't follow the same type of parameters. I'm sure there's somebody in some corner at some desk.
I've
Well, I think
been-
Right
I'm-
House probably you can record. You can check on how
Oh,
many
yeah.
people were.
Yeah, I would
yeah,
totally agree with
I'm
that.
sure Ride Pass can, and I know we were getting way more text, social media posts than we had been used to.
Well, and I noticed that
Because I think a lot of people just take it for granted that it's going to be there every week, and now they were like, "Holy cow!" I got a lot of texts that were like, "Holy cow, how was it?
It
What
was
does
really.
it feel like? What does it what does
It
it,
was
do without
more
a
of
crowd?"
a warm, touchy. To me,
it was
Ride
more
Pass
intimate.
was more intimate this year or this
Mhm.
weekend,
Yep.
and it's almost what you wanted to see. You want to see in Ride Pass.
Yep.
I think it's gonna bring people. They're going to go, hey, I know we have the audience back, but couldn't you guys do this? And couldn't you go there? And couldn't you stand out on the?
I think it will change what we do.
It's
on
going to
Ride Pass
influence
now
it, right?
forever. That's the way that I feel.
Good.
That's the way that I'm going to approach it.
So you're saying Flint's going to take your job?
You know, so what's that? So Flint's going to take his job. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe Flint will be full-time Ride Pass. I don't know.
Flint looked pretty good in a little suit coat. And
He did a great job
did a
this
great
weekend,
job.
breaking stuff down, analyzing. I know, let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to spend more time on Ride Pass throughout the course of the rest of this season, and
which is awesome. Congrats.
And, and we've and the format has changed. It's not a 2-man desk anymore where you have an anchor and an analyst. It's not that kind of deal anymore. It's more of a floating type of deal.
On the go.
And if you watched from Little Rock, I spent some time in the stands interviewing some old retired bull riders and stuff like that, and just kind of
but that's what's cool
kind
about
of brainstorming
Ride Pass.
every week about what we can do different and where we can go
Yeah.
and what we can pre-tape and
Well, and
stuff
if you
like
look
that,
at it,
so.
the same thing happens with the people that buy like the NASCAR, like we today, for instance, which we've never done.
I know
before.
we watched more NASCAR.
We
today.
watched more NASCAR today than we ever have. Because
NASCAR is fascinating to me.
But that's what
Check
it
this
was
one out.
today. Is we listened to inside the car
uncensored.
with these guys, uncensored, which was
Uncensored.
definitely not G-rated.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
It
but
was
it's
awesome.
amazing because
Mhm.
that uncensored NASCAR driver is what you get
Yep.
from the riders from the locker room to the bucket shoots.
Yeah.
And
that's
so we
what the
understand
fans,
that.
That's what the fans just want to know about the guys. What
The
makes them click, what
competitiveness.
makes
Dude,
them
I'm a Kurt Busch
understand.
fan or Kyle Busch fan now after watching that. I know people out there gonna be like, "Oh, I don't even know what car he drives, what number or anything."
I know.
But listening to him in the
And
car,
Johnson.
yeah,
And
in Clint Boyer,
yeah.
yeah. But listen to them give their perspective of driving the car
Mhm.
because it's not. They're going in a circle.
Yep.
And you think, "Oh, how hard is that?"
Hey, and
But
the
to
whole
hear about,
Rubbins
"Oh,
racing.
you're taking another lap because you came in too fast."
Right.
I had no idea
Right.
that was even a thing.
Well, and that's where we get stuck in a rut in Western sports. Is it's all about what we do, and why
Mhm.
doesn't the rest of the world understand? Well, if you're a big NASCAR fan, you're thinking, man, why didn't people understand NASCAR? Same with boxing or UFC
Football. And football.
or
I get it.
WWE or football or any
Yeah.
of those things where, man, there's so much to learn from every different aspect of rodeo or entertainment. And that's
Well,
what I've always tried to tell rodeo guys is, hey, you can learn something from every aspect of
Hey,
entertainment.
one of my best friends, I worked with him for 20 years, tried to get me to go to the races. His families go up to Knoxville,
Mhm.
and they come down here, Kansas City.
Sprint cars or
And
what are they, midgets or whatever they're up there.
They
Sprint
live
car.
it.
Yeah,
Dirt
it's a
track,
big
whatever
deal.
it is.
Dirt track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, for the longest time, it was one of those things that he'd say, "Hey, you sure you don't go to the races? We've got pit passes. We're going in early, and it's like, what does that mean?" He's like, "Dude, you go in just like going to the Kansas City football game. You go in, you cook out, and and you're in the middle of it." And I used to say, "Yeah, vroom, 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 vroom," and I'd say, "How is that fun?" Right? But there's been some times we've got into it. You watch the competitiveness, the rub and the.
I'm gonna tell you, Kyle Busch today
today.
had me pretty excited. Like I'm like, I want to go to a race now. Like I've never been something on my bucket list now, but back to Western sports, and we have to, as a group, collectively understand that we're competing against sports like that because they're giving that inside look. They're talking. I mean, you think it's simple, but we scroll through our phones and we see a bad lip read by the NFL.
Mhm.
We don't really know what they're saying. They're making it funny, whatever.
Some of us don't, but some of us do.
But that was my point. Is there a good number of people that do know what they're saying?
Mhm.
And it's the same on this side. People still think that the way the flank is put on a bull or the way a calf is tied and those things, they don't understand it like we do. And so that little bit of gap
Mhm.
is viewership and is people that can come over and understand that we love our sport as much as they love their sport.
Well, again, I think we touched on this a little bit about the American, talking about the introduction to each of the events, and talking about how it's
no, it was WCRA.
or WCR, excuse me, yeah,
Yeah, the rodeo 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bingo. That's a good
You
take.
got education.
All right, so back to PB as we got completely. Who won the event
So
this weekend?
Dinner Barbosa won the event in Duluth, Georgia. That moved Dinner all the way to number 6 in the world. Jose Vitor-Leme is still number 1. Just Lockwood's number 2. Joao Ricardo Vieira is only now 20 points out of the number 2 spot. Let's be honest. The reason the coronavirus came along was so Just Lockwood has a little more time.
You know what? I don't know who said it yesterday or Saturday, but
we're joking, Jim.
Yeah,
we're joking.
I can tell you, he did this already. He showed everybody he could come out and participate in half a season and still kick everybody's tail.
Well, he's out for 6 months. Torn hamstring. Just got surgery done in New York City.
How about the private jet? Did you guys see that?
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
It was mine.
Was it?
Yeah, I told him. I said, "Hey, jump in my jet and go ahead and take it."
For a guy that lives in an RV every day,
yeah,
that's my jet.
That's my jet.
Yeah,
that's my jet. But back to the coronavirus. There's 2 reasons. Okay, one was for Jess Lockwood to give him a little more time to get back and healed up. The other one was I really believe, and I read this on a social media post the other day. I really believe that the coronavirus was mustered up by the top 20 tie-down ropers in the world, so that Shad Mayfield couldn't make any more money, and they could try to catch up with him.
It's too late.
Holy
I think
cow.
It's too late.
He will make if the season didn't start to shut down the way it is, he would have went into the national finals with $225,000, I believe.
But how cool is it that we can sit here and talk about the fact that the season's slowing down? It's not shut down. We're slowing down. And somebody has already won that much money to start. A calf roper. Somebody that they said 10 years ago, I can remember conversations.
No money.
10 years ago saying, oh, that sport will never make it. I'm talking about tie-down roping. That sport will never make it. It needs to go. It needs to go. Why does it need to go? It's a part of what we do. It's who we are. And now to hear that a kid out of New Mexico is won that much money, I mean, come on. It's a testament to our sport as a whole. Western sports in general. We talk about it. We say it. I felt it this weekend at a junior high school rodeo. To see the disappointment in the kids' eyes to talk about that the coronavirus is going to allow us to not have a rodeo this weekend and next weekend. Dude, they're disappointed because these kids have been waiting 5.
Yeah, everybody's posture in the stands.
It's unbelievable.
When it was after the junior high in between the two, and the director was like, hey, just updating everybody. Here's some of the things coming down the pipe. Just be aware this may happen. It hasn't happened yet. And you saw everybody just kind of like, they just kind of started slumping.
You just said home all winter.
Well, that's the whole thing is that this was the first weekend out.
Mm-hmm.
They had an opportunity to run their horses, tie calves, get on bulls. They've been practicing. Those that haven't been practicing, you notice a lot of kids had been practicing, obviously. But then to hear them say, hey, you know what, the next 2 weekends we're going to have. But you know what? What's awesome about it, like in my state, is we only had 1 weekend in April planned just because of the way the stock contractors and everything fell.
Mm.
So hopefully
you can make them up in April.
Hopefully we can make them up in April. Hopefully we can make them up before junior high.
Yeah.
We heard Roger just talk about college rodeo, saying, hey, you know what? There's some college rodeos that only have 2
college
rodeos.
Teams. They've only participated in 2.
And you know what? They're gonna make NYRA. They're gonna make the college finals in Casper.
Right.
And the thing about it is it's a clean slate once you get there. But can you imagine as a bareback rider, or let's use Dalen for instance.
Hey, Cody, stop for a second.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Dalen's only had a handful of rodeos he's been able to go to.
Yeah.
And now you're at the point where
he still
could make it.
Yeah. If you take a look at what has happened in the PRCA, 12 rodeos have canceled, starting with, of course, Rodeo Houston, which was inside of Super Series 2, which was just an absolute...
And what is that right there? What is Super Series 2?
So it's a bracket system. So they call them Super Series. It's be like bracket 1. They perform for 3 days.
They qualify.
Well, they qualify. What the way it comes in is they take all the qualifiers for the entire rodeo. They just randomly do a draw, and you get put in Super Series 1 or Super Series 2. And then there's a wild card.
Winner.
That you can come back on a wild card to make it to the short.
Right.
But for these guys, Super Series 1 was complete. They were into their first performance of 2, and that's when it got canceled.
And we still do not have an update. I do not believe on whether the $3,000 for winning your series counted towards the world. It doesn't matter. They
Did
shut the
they
doors.
pay?
They shut the doors on rodeo.
it paid
Houston.
out.
The people who competed up to that point
you
got
paid, yeah, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to count towards PRC World Standings, and I don't feel like it should.
You don't? You really don't?
I-
Oh, I
How is
absolutely
that,
think I do.
But how is that fair?
Because it's no different than, even though you entered, it's no different than entering a rodeo and having it rain out or having it, and it hasn't really happened. But thus far, those guys, it was a draw system. That's how they got into 1 or 2. It's no different than drawing bodacious or drawing bushwhacker in the bull riding. I mean, you
Well,
just
at
you
least
get,
you can get on bushwhacker.
you
could get on.
what I'm saying is you have an opportunity. It's just how the draw falls.
So
And that's the
imagine
one
this
thing about
scenario.
rodeo has always been is it's all about the
Hey,
draw.
Imagine this scenario.
Okay.
Let's say PBR, right?
Mhm.
We go the first round. We go the second round. We're going into the championship round. We get halfway through it, and they say, "Whoop, lights out. We got to call this thing." Right? So really, the bottom 7 of the top 15 have gone, and the top 7 don't get to go. And you're saying Tough Kitty.
That's the sport. I mean, it's never changed.
Ooh, I don't.
Nope.
Hey, this
I
is.
don't-
Not, but see, that's. Listen to the Democrat over there.
Can't go
Who?
with you on that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Can't go with you on that.
I know you can't. My point is does a $3,000 count? I think it does. I think it's. You're pretty hard pressed to take $3,000. If that $3,000
Don't take it away, it
if
just
that
doesn't
$3,000 doesn't count, then 50,000 of the
But everybody
American
had the opportunity.
then the American
to
shouldn't
do that,
count
though.
for the guys that got in as the top 10.
Well,
Again,
either way, the rodeos were canceled, and I want to talk to all the big tough cowboys out there and everybody that thinks that this is a sham and that it's a made up virus or whatever. The deal is, whether we believe it is as bad as it is or not, it's here.
Yeah, we're in the middle of
The
it.
government decided that those rodeos were going to shut down. They made a strong recommendation to Rodeo Houston as a committee, to Austin, and South by Southwest was already closed down 2 weeks earlier than that. Then Austin comes around and says, we have to cancel. Mercedes, Texas did it. Nacogdoches did it. We're moving the national circuit finals. Goliad just canceled. Lincoln, Nebraska just canceled. Believe me, those rodeo committees were not, they didn't have the final say in this. I believe that if those rodeo committees could have had a rodeo, they would have absolutely had a rodeo.
We saw it this weekend, and I know it's so simple and so small at the junior high school level, where I was this weekend. It was a locally owned facility. He called the county prior. County said, totally okay.
Mhm.
You know what? No confirmed cases in our county. Have the rodeo.
Yep.
Understood. Not near as many people. But in the end, it came down to a simple decision of yes or no.
Yep.
And he was able to say yes. These committees are going to say no. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would much rather be living through this right now than the Depression or Prohibition.
My deal is fix it now so we don't have to do this in June.
Right.
Exactly. That's
When
my
the big,
point.
when the
That's-
good rodeos
that-
are May, June, July, and August. I mean, and a little bit selfishly, but that's my rodeo season kicks off about that time. And I know those guys missed out on some big paychecks. You know, you got San Antonian and they missed that out. But I'm telling you, if we don't take care of this now, and this runs into the 4th of July, if we want to think we're in a bad shape in Western sports, we're really going to be in a bad
Well, here's
shape.
the thing. Chris
Yeah.
you guys can weigh in, but my point is, and we've talked about this in the office all day, we have to, as the USA, slow down for 2 weeks, get this thing under control, figure it out, and be able to move forward. Because as you said this morning, that peak is going to be here to here, and why not make it like this?
Yep.
And that's where we're at.
Widen the bell.
Yeah.
Widen the bell. If there's 80,000 cases that we're going to have to deal with, let's not deal with them all in 2 weeks.
Right.
If we can
Right.
spread it over, we can save some people. You know.
And you know what we might get to do? My father-in-law keeps saying, let's live Amish for a little bit. And in a
No.
way, no.
No.
No. But
Bobby's
you know
down with that, isn't he?
Absolutely. is.
Answer's no.
Like probably when I get back to the house, the electricity will be shut off and there'll be.
We're
doubt
doing
candles
it.
burning.
We're doing it.
But
Dude, you realize you wouldn't even be able to function.
no. But here's the deal.
He just says no, moves on.
Is it gonna hurt to
Slow down and stay home.
slow down? Just stay.
How many
home?
of us in those listening to podcasts, and there's been,
like?
I don't even
I'm
know what
just
our
okay
viewership
with
is,
it.
but my point is, those that are listening, how many of us is it going to hurt to hang out?
No, to talk with our kids and read
Yeah.
some more books or go ride some horses in the
Spend
afternoon.
some time with our kids and our wives and our
Not
and
run
our
to
husbands.
not run to town because we think we have errands to run. You know, just like I'm gonna miss.
Well, we've
I'm-
got 4 weeks to do
I
it.
just I'm just. I
Oh,
don't
it came
know,
out
man.
that my kids don't have to go back to school for 3 weeks, and it doesn't have to be made up.
Yeah.
That's a
That's a
whole
good
nother
thing.
dude. That's like getting on Virgil.
Mhm.
That's
Making up school?
No,
Making it
my
up.
kid's home for 3 weeks.
Oh,
That's like
yeah.
getting on Virgil.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's already
I-
been on the phone with both sets of in-laws.
Yeah,
Mama, Dad. Yeah.
trying to figure this out because this is a whole nother world. But you know what?
And it's something we've never
But you know what?
we've never dealt with this before. Our
If I'm-
generations have never dealt with something like this before.
If I'm adamant, proud, happy, one thing, it's the fact that I'm doing it here in the United States and not anywhere else.
Mhm.
My sense, as we were talking about this earlier, is that how you feel for all the vendors, all the people
Mhm.
who, all the leather guys guys and gals, have people who have worked, for the last 6 months, just building up their inventory
To be ready for
to pull
a
in.
couple big shows.
I was literally on the phone with Stetson, Stetson Frost from Lean Frost brand, and we're talking, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I literally have my trailer halfway unloaded." They said, "Stop, don't unload anymore." He said, "So we had to sit there for a while." And I said, "And do what?" And he said, "Wait for a decision." He said, and then he said, "We waited and waited, and then they come back and said, load it up."
But you know what? It's like going to Houston. Look at the kids that have spent countless hours feeding their calves, feeding their pigs, feeding whatever livestock, whatever you want to talk about. The time that they gave up of spending time with other kids and doing those other things to be able to compete and to be literally
Yeah.
in the moment stopped.
Yep.
And we talk about rodeo, but that's a part of the whole Western lifestyle also.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the same kids that sit in the stands and watch the rodeo kids.
Goes to
Um,
show, don't always plan down the road. Do it now because you
And-
may not have that opportunity.
And the deal is this: I truly believe we're going to get through this.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that we'll come back better than we were before. And it doesn't hurt every once in a while to realize that we're not in charge.
Well, I think there's a lot on a lot broader spectrum. There's a lot to that.
Mhm.
There's a lot to that statement. There's a lot to that. That gets a lot deeper than what the superficial wounds of
Yep.
financially and all the things that take place. And we don't ever have to, for the most part, experience that from being here, the United States. And so we take that for granted.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's in different parts, and I'm sure it feels different in different parts of the world. I'm sure that in Lamoni, Iowa, it feels different than it does here because we are very close to a huge city.
Yeah.
Well, and you go
Right by
here
the
to New York
airport.
City, or you were in
Yeah,
Atlanta this
absolutely.
weekend,
Yep.
in New York City or L.A.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
where we live, where Tracy and Platte City is, where we live, is literally 2 miles north of the airport here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
It is where everybody comes in from Nebraska and Kansas, and people come right through here
Yep.
and stop at Quick Trip and get their gas, fill up on their way home. And so that's the scary part of where we live, that impacts.
Yeah.
Obviously, small town
We're
in
an
southern
epicenter.
Iowa, or
Well,
you
like
know-
the little town that I'm from in Kansas. Okay, so Washington, Kansas is the county seat. It has the hospital. The main doctor,
Mhm.
went to Eagle, Colorado last week skiing. Guess what? 14-day quarantine. It was the
Yeah.
county he wasn't supposed to go to. Did he know? No. But so that little part of Kansas now is like, oh my gosh. Now they're scared. Where a week ago, we're kind of.
I think that falls on the whole thing of take some time at home,
Mhm.
relax, take a deep breath.
This whole no toilet paper thing's kind of getting old.
Buy some groceries, but realize that we're not 2 months in that you can't get by on probably one case of toilet paper.
Right. No
Because
doubt.
holy smokes. And we went to Costco today. And there was a sign. There was a sign when you walk in that said, "This is what we don't have, and this is what we have." And toilet paper was on the do
don't
not have
have.
list. And so was
Well, that's a
bottled
good
water.
thing for me because there's a lot of stuff at Costco I'd rather buy than spend my money on toilet paper.
And I think we bought 5 things, and it was still $104 because you can't get out of there for less than $100.
That's Costco.
But it lasts forever. But then we went to Aldi's, and
You spent $12 and walked out with 2
Yeah.
cases.
the shelves were bare. I mean, bare. Just cans of food gone. Unbelievable.
here's the
In
thing.
Costco, you couldn't buy a piece of chicken in Costco to save your life. If you had to have chicken to live, there was no chicken there. It was unbelievable how it was cleared
Again,
out.
that's where people have to understand that just because it's a pandemic doesn't mean it's an epidemic at this point. We're not to that point yet. And people get on social media, not to get too far into all the other stuff that goes with it, but to say that we're driven by the media, I think this proves the point. We truly are.
Absolutely.
And so 2 weeks of quarantine, you know, if they really want to
It's
quarantine
a
us,
small
turn off.
price to pay for the safety of others.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Turn off the internet for 2 weeks and see what happens.
You know what you need to do? If you're scared about anything, you just need to listen to more of the Two Big Guys in Grover,
We've got it figured out.
the Matt West Now podcast,
Yeah.
and Rump Chat.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Make sure your kids have gone to bed before you listen to
Yeah, Rump
Chat.
Chat's got to be the last one after midnight.
Yeah, that's
And
like
we love
that's
it.
like to
Because
have
it goes-
two Gold Buckle
G-
beers, sit down, listen to it.
It goes G,
Yeah.
Well, I like how you
PG.
threw in the Gold Buckle beer dealer.
Hey,
right there.
but
That
you
was
know what?
good.
I think that's the
good.
truth because just what you said.
Yeah.
We try and stay family oriented because this in the next 2 weeks we have a ton of conversation periods of miniature bull riders.
Yep.
I mean, you can go down through the list of the kids that we've got that we've already talked to that are coming on to talk on here and to have the conversation because what I think the world needs to hear is more about these little guys
Mhm.
and girls. Nija's going to be on and to have those conversations and to hear those. And then you go to Matt's, Merritt,
Yep.
or West,
Yep.
whichever one you want.
right?
Roadcast.
Roadcast
With
or
my
Matt West. I mean,
Hell
Matt Merritt. Yeah,
no.
but it gets a little more PG.
Mhm.
Matt Merritt, not as much.
No, not
but,
as much, Matt Merritt.
No, but West is definitely a little more open and vocal. And
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to Rump. That's a whole nother level. And Rump is his own, like his own censorship. They should call one.
You know what? I was listening to it today.
R means rump. I'm gonna make that T-shirt. R means rump.
Here, I was listening to it today, and who was it they had on, Cody?
Bob Tallman.
Bob Tolman.
I just started listening to it
Yeah.
on the way to the studio tonight.
So he was talking about his growing up. One thing that really struck me, he said, where he grew up, his dad was German Indian, and his on the other side was
I haven't listened to it
3/4
yet.
Cherokee, whatever. And they said cussing was the second language in their house. He said he
So
grew up.
you felt at home then.
Yeah, absolutely. I told you that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
And then so Bob's sitting there and he's saying that, if you weren't cussing,
Yeah.
what was wrong with you? He said because he went to school for 8 years in the same room with the same teacher.
And was still, and I heard him say, and she's still
She's
alive
still
today.
alive.
As beautiful as ever.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, Rump was not that way. If you'd have cussed at our table growing up as a kid,
Wooden spoon to the back.
you'd have had not a wooden spoon. Justin will contest. You'd have had spoon.
Whack.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Lola.
Floyd.
Oh, yeah, I think
And I say this, and I'll talk about it, is you have those people in your life that truly mean more than you will ever be able to explain. And Floyd is one of those people for myself. But to sit there as a kid, he would, you could be in a conversation and Haley and Justin and Jeff and those of us, Becky and anybody that sat there with him. Floyd, you could be in the middle of a conversation or whatever, and you feel a drop of water hit you in the face. And you look back, and Floyd was always sitting at the table. Floyd would dip his spoon in his water, and
Flip it at
while
you.
nobody's paying attention, he would flick it. And it was just always. And you know what? I look back now and I think, wow, that was just a way he communicated to us. You know, it was truly a sign of love. But he would flick that to us, and you know, if you got water on you, you would turn around and be like, "Boy," you know, I mean, it was just that. But if you would have ever said something bad at the kitchen table, dining room table, and I can remember as a kid coming in, we ate lunch together every day. It didn't matter what time we started in the morning, what time we finished at night. We had lunch, and Lola, Kate, Vicky, you go down through the list, always had lunch prepared for us. And we stopped in the middle of our day to walk inside, wash our hands, take our boots off, take our hats off, and enjoy a meal as a family. And that's truly what we were. And it goes back to the whole PBR family this weekend. The same thing happened on the old Double Bar R in Abbeville, Kansas. We had a family that was from all walks of life. I mean, if you look at from Sam to Danny May to Jeff Rector to myself to Justin and Haley to Bronk to Kate coming from Canada to Vicky, we were from everywhere. And the glue was Floyd and Lola, and they were our glue.
We'll have to have an old Double Bar R podcast.
Yeah, Justin will have to rein it in a little bit to be on this podcast because he gets to be a little free. He will. Actually, you know what would be even better is if we have Justin and Ashley.
Ooh,
because Ashley will keep Justin in check.
It's true.
I don't know. The party bus in Vegas, there was no check.
Hey, there was one other Western sport. Well, Arcadia, Florida had their event this weekend on the PRCA. Shout out to Frontier Rodeo. Had a great event there. Our buddy Shane Proctor won the bull.
Yeah, won the bull riding.
And the Cinch Timed Event Championship of the World, which is one of my absolute favorite events
ever,
held at the Lazy Arena.
I'm with you.
Taylor Santos wins it. And I would call him Santos, but Bob Feist calls him Santos. So I'm guessing that it's Taylor Santos from California.
Is it really?
I always thought it was Santos.
I thought his mom was Kendra Santos.
But listen,
because when you hear
I
Bob
should
Tallman,
know.
But when you hear Tallman say it, it's Santos.
I don't know.
So
Anyway,
I don't know.
But anyway, enjoyed that on Ride TV this week. Ride TV Go.
Garrett Jurgen was down
live
there.
Stream. Oh man, and so the Junior Ironman, which is the junior kids that start in that event. If you don't know about the Time Event Championship of the World, you head, you heel, you tie down rope, you steer wrestle, and you steer rope. And then in the Junior Ironman, the only one they take out of that is the single steer roping. But shout out to Garrett Jurgen and Garrison Panzer. They announced the Junior Ironman, and outstanding job, both of them.
Killed it.
I'm a high, and it makes other guys mad. I don't care. I'm high on Garrison Panzer.
We're gonna have Garrett on.
I think Garrett does a great job. So shout out to those two guys for
I think people need to hear the story of Garrett Jurgen. Because most people don't know Garrett grew up in the trailer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was a competitor's kid.
He had no excuse to not be good at something, and he is good at running his mouth. Excellent at it. Probably a terrible bulldogger, but
you know what? I don't know that I've ever seen him throw a steer.
I don't think.
Have you?
Probably. I don't even know if he rides a horse.
Oh, that's a good one. We should ask him. He surely has to because, I mean, Dale is, and those that don't know, his dad runs the IPRA and everything. Or Dale's a hand.
Yeah. Well, coming up soon.
So Garrett's got to be a hand,
coming up
doesn't
soon,
he?
We'll have Garrett on here. I think he's probably pretty good at setting up arenas and feeding and running the outgate at Fort Worth.
He's a pretty good announcer. Let's just say that.
And he really is a good announcer.
Dang good announcer.
He really is. I'm proud of that little fart.
And he's only 25?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, he's got,
yeah. Chris has got underwear older than
he's got 80 years ahead of him.
I do.
So.
They're my favorite.
He's almost half my age. Let's just say that.
Half your age? You are.
I'm not that old.
Well, Chris is. Chris
Pretty
is older
close.
than that.
Yeah, I'm the old man. I'm one.
So
all right, next week, where are we
don't
at?
Get on the coronavirus.
We don't know. We don't know where we're going yet.
So everything is up in the air for the next couple of weeks. We're waiting on an updated PBR schedule. As of right now, we know that the Velocity events have been either postponed or canceled for the future, including San Luis Obispo, which was we were going to produce the Cal Poly College Rodeo there and put a PBR on. That one has been canceled. But I do believe we're going to try to make those events up. What's going to happen with the Unleash the Beast series? Just stay tuned to PBR.com, and we're going to give you daily updates. It's kind of a day-to-day deal, and again, that it's out of our hands. So
That's right.
when President Trump says we got to do something, you kind of got to do it.
Take some time, heal. How many guys have we talked about need an opportunity to heal? Here's their chance. How many guys need an opportunity?
It's not a bad thing.
How many guys need an opportunity to, and cowgirls, work your horses a little more before we start the summer?
Hey,
Get them in tune, get them in step, work on the timing, work on that. As Cris said in the last podcast, prepare.
Right.
This is our time to prepare.
Right.
Here we are.
Yep.
How many times every year do we ever get this? We've never got it before. So let's use it to our advantage.
Mid-year break.
That's right.
Mid-year break.
Absolutely, and it can be a healing time and just a rest time for all of us.
It just means more time at home with your kids.
Exactly. Grab a good book like the Bible,
Yeah,
and listen to some podcasts, and
we got a lot of them.
watch
Actually,
a lot less
in
television.
all seriousness, we have a number of youth bull riders that we've had an opportunity to interview and are interviewing. Listen to those series because those kids have a different perspective on life. They haven't been here all 75 years like Cris has.
No.
Well,
And
they want to. It's that little eyes are upon us.
That's right.
Right.
They watch what we're doing. They watch what those other guys.
Yep.
Not what Cris and I are doing. We don't ride bulls, but
No.
No, but there is an utmost respect for what you guys do, and I find when just like the other day, somebody shared the post of the Two Big Guys and Grover podcast, and one lady goes, "What's this?" And the lady goes, "It's the two big guys from 100X and Grover from Ride Pass." Oh, okay, we'll check it out. And that made me feel good because I'm like, wow, I like
A little bit
with those kids now. I kind of have this title or whatever. I don't know. It's just cool. It's we've all worked a long time to get to halfway to where we're at.
you know what I saw it this weekend? Not to interrupt, but I saw it this weekend. A guy that on a regional level was a weekend warrior, a heck of a calf roper. Now he's a junior high school judge. Took a long hiatus, and now he's back. He's got a young kid. And it was cool to see him interact with the kids and pull them aside as a judge because you don't see that.
Mm.
You see the judges in and out with their pencil, put their books down and walk away. And those guys probably have the most knowledge of anybody in the arena.
Absolutely.
And so
Nothing says they can't share it.
You're right, and that's what I was going to
Judge
say.
it fairly and share what you know.
And so it was cool this weekend to see, and I'll say his name. His name is Troy Gurrell. He's out of Missouri. And to see Troy in the calf rope and spend the time with a couple young kids that were roping calves and school them and help them and mentor them.
Hmm.
And I enjoyed it. So take
the
this
world
time.
needs more of that.
Absolutely it does. So kudos to Troy Gurrell in Missouri for taking the time to spend some with these boys.
So be safe out there. Wash your hands as much as you possibly can. And I'm serious. For all of us guys that didn't wash our hands enough, we're washing them every 5 minutes now. So we won't let the coronavirus take us down as long as Trump says there can be more than 4 people or at least 4 people in an office at one time.
And a dog.
We will try to bring you this podcast next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll find something.
We'll have lots of guys. In all seriousness, we've got a lot of kids. We've got a lot of juniors
Looking forward
and
to
youth.
that.
And
We'll keep dropping those conversation series.
yeah,
as we go
actually,
along,
I
too.
think Bubba Miller we're going to try and get Bubba on the phone to talk about college because it's going to make a big difference in college.
Yeah.
NCAA's made some rulings on the other side. Let's see what NIRA happens.
Yeah, because you wonder how. Yeah, that's just going to affect people. That's
lots of stuff to come.
It's going to be weird. It's going to be different for a little bit, but that's how it is. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a outstanding week.